Hello there, this is Jack for That Snow Moon. Welcome to part 2 of our marathon of a painting tutorial. This time we're going to tackle Wrecker. So just to refresh, we are doing Season 2 Bad Batch. So this was Hunter from the previous episode. If you want to see how we did him, check the link, check the video before this one. So this should be episode 2 if I've done this correctly. So as we covered at the start of the last episode, we've done all the grey armour. That's finished. If you want to see that again, check out the video. So just to refresh, to quickly run through, it was petroleum grey, then it was a heavy dry brush of graphite, then it was a black wash, and then it was a sponge of graphite again. So that's given us this worn, quite bashed up looking armour. I've then gone in before this video and I've just touched up and done the tan undersuit. Again, if you want to see what we did for that, it's in Hunter's video. It's a mixture of walnut, rainy grey and Thar brown. Touch of black in there to desaturate it, and then highlight it all the way up to pure Thar brown. So yeah, this should be a quick one. We may even squeeze crosshair in. We'll see how long this video churns on for. So all we've got to do here is brown boots. We've got a brown sort of neck piece here. There's not actually that much showing, so I don't think it probably isn't worth it that much, but we'll yeah, let's do it. No, it's not actually Scott, it's not the right piece. No, I'm just checking the reference image, because in the reference image he's got sort of like an extra neck piece of armour that's sort of look like a leathery colour, which isn't really sculpted into this model. So we do all the browns, then we've got a lot of yellow edge markings to do on the shoulders and the chest, orange stripes as we did with Hunter, the face marking, which could be quite tricky, but we'll give it a bash. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Wrecker. We'll do his weapon, and there's a torso piece that's meant to be sort of a bluish colour, but I'm not seeing the best way to access that. So I think we should be able to access it in there. We'll give it a go. Bit of colour has never hurt anybody. So let's get on with the task at hand with all the brown bits. So go back to our brown leather from Scale Colours. We will also use this scale colour, US Dark Brown, from the Warfront series. That'll be our next one. And as you saw in the previous episode, we use Basic Flash to highlight. Let's go. So, in with the brown leather. So his boots do actually have a central piece of armour, and you can see that sculpted in. So we'll avoid that. We'll avoid the soles as well. We basically want all the foundation work that we've done with the greys to do some of the work here. So it's naturally highlighted a sole, it's naturally highlighted that centre piece of armour. The best thing we can do is leave it. So that's one boot. We're going to do this brown in a couple of places. You might as well do the same colour across the miniature while we've got the paint out. So, the next place we're going to do it, we're going to do it on his gloves. And that seems to be all of the leather details for Wrecker. So, just his fingers showing. And that. Go around handle of his weapon. Then these fingers here. Don't know about you guys. I was a little disappointed to see no head sculpts, especially as a Rebel player. I'd have quite liked to have had the head sculpts for these guys, and then put the helmets on the base or something. Other than that, I think they're fantastic miniatures. Really captured a lot of detail. There we go. Wash off the brush. And introduce a bit of the US dark brown. And let's hit these shoes. So, anywhere that's in shadow, leave out. Drag that pigment towards the front, where the most light's going to be. Hit a bit around the heel. If you can leave a gap between the toe and the heel highlights, it naturally sort of creates that shadow where the shape of the foot is. Again, heel. Leave a little gap. Let's get them toes. Get Wrecker's tootsies. There we go. And the gloves. So, same as when we were doing Hunter. Let's not highlight these too much. Let's just hit all the fingers so that the pure brown leather sits in the recesses. And then we'll go back with the highest highlight tone, and we'll just hit anywhere that's raised, so that'll be knuckles, tops of fingers. There we go. Now let's get pure US dark brown. Just the top of the toes. Heels. Again, like I said in the Hunter video, if you're looking to do the Republic version of these characters, follow the grey recipe up to that point, and then things like the skull motif on Hunter's helmet can be found in this video. All those sorts of details that carry on over between the two variations of the characters' armour pieces can be found in their respective videos. But then if you want the how to do like the red of the Republic armour, just check out Crosshair's section. Did say that Tom would put a timestamp, but now that they're going to be separate episodes, it's a little more pointless doing that. Okay, a little bit of the basic flesh. ATST wobbling around on the desk. That ATST is going to be part of another video. So I'm going to try and emulate Ollie Dyer's famous, or infamous rather, Blizzard Force painting design, if you can call it a design I suppose. Award-winning design, I might add. And I'm going to try and artsy-fartsy it. Make it look a bit more deliberate, should we say. That will involve a lot of highlighting of red. So if you're looking for practice on how to make your reds pop, that will be the video for you. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave them boots. I don't want them too gaudy. So, where are we going to go next? Let's go for the orange. The reason we'll go for the orange is because then that's going to link into the yellow that we're going to have to do around his shoulder pads and other such parts of his body. Just there we go, Kalahari orange. So again, you'll have seen this in the Hunter video, but it's very quick. If you don't want to watch Hunter's video and you don't want to search through it, and you're just painting Wrecker, this is the recipe. So it starts off as Kalahari orange, goes to Mars orange, then it goes to Sol yellow, and those are all the colours you need really. So we'll start with Kalahari. Now Wrecker's got two raised areas. We're only going to hit the very central one. Same as Hunter, that leg's slightly bent. Let's drag the pigment down to the bottom. Same on this side. Drag the pigment down. Nothing on the knees. And he's just got the central stripe on his chest, so this would be a lot quicker. So once we've got that base coat established, do the same method again, 50-50. Just start to bring it up to Mars. pure Mars orange would be the highest we got on this leg. This one's a little bit more visible. So it may go higher. However, I don't think we'll have to. So it's just going to be this chest piece that gets the full beans. So, in with Mars. If you're still watching this series, why don't you tell us how you're running Bad Batch? Are you in Rebels? Are you in Republic? Are you dabbling in both? Who are you pairing them with? I've got a game tomorrow as this goes out. Or as I'm recording this rather. I'm pairing them with Han and Jyn. My thinking with that is 2 steady units, both sharpshooter. And then Chewie just acting as 9 extra wounds with backup. Once he's taken 4 wounds, you can't turn his backup off unless you're in range 2. Which, admittedly, probably are going to be. If you're trying to knife fight with a range 2 steady unit. Things like ARC Troopers, B2s, those are all going to be able to come after them. So we're adding some Sol yellow into the Mars orange here. But that's my thinking, and then it sort of takes elements of my MKGT list, so Pathfinders, Commandos. I've put a unit of Slingers in there just as an activation pad. I thought that'd be quite useful to just, something like shifting priorities, there's always one objective that sort of sits out of the way. They can go get that. Do you know what we've forgotten to do? We've got these on his shoulder pads. So these aren't present in the Rebel version. They've got sort of a stripe that goes, I'll say, most of the way up. We're going to make that orange as well. So. Goes to there. So for this one, I think we're going to highlight towards the top. We're going to keep the contrast between the pale skull and the orange. We're going to keep that bottom bit dark where they join. Let's go in with 50-50 Mars Kalahari. Mars. Bit of Sol yellow. Again, this just gives you a little bit of variation on the figure. Otherwise he could be quite bland. We've also got this on the back. I actually haven't got a picture of his backpack, but I'm envisioning it's mostly grey, maybe a bit of red on it, which will of course become orange. A bit more sol on this one. I'll leave that. Cool. I'm going to check the colour of this backpack before we move on. If it's orange, I'm just going to apply the same technique, but what I'm going to do is, instead of making the highlight at the top, I'll make the highlight at the bottom, just for that extra interest. So I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so there we are. There was some red on the backpack. So we've done the skull. There's little canister things on the side. We've also done the neck trim orange. I've taken the stance of anything that was red should now be orange. But you do you. If you want to do it yellow or you want to leave it grey, that is absolutely fine. What we're going to do now though is we are going to tackle the yellow. So looking at the reference image, he's got yellow sort of under armour. So that is sitting underneath his shoulder pad and underneath his chest plate. We aren't going to be able to reach the chest plate one, so we're not too bothered about that. We've got this neck ring that's compensating for that absence. So what we're going to do is we're going to do underneath the shoulder pads with yellow, and then I noticed on his other shoulder pad he sort of has like a quarter circle in yellow, and then the trim is yellow. So we're just going to replicate that on both sides. So the base coat for this would be Sahara yellow. It's quite a dull yellow. It does need several coats before it actually starts covering up. Could be a while, so this could be another cut. However, I'll show you what I'm working with. So we're doing underneath this edge. A bit different brush. This one is not playing ball today. Probably because I've ragged it. Let's use this one. It is one of those paints as well, Sahara yellow, that I just never can get right. So I'm going to add a little bit of Kalahari just to give it some sort of substance. That seems a bit better. So, in we go again. That's better. On the other side, it's less of an edge there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight in and do the edge. Again, they've sculpted a different sort of armour piece here compared to what's in the show. After all, this is based on the Republic. So it's going to take a bit of freehand just to drag a straight line out from the bottom of this skull. And the skull comes in, if you can make these 4 lines look identical. Close enough, close enough. we've got to make 4 quarter circles look the same. So the rough guide I'm using, there's a bit of an edge to the shoulder pad, starting it just under there and bringing it close to the skull, not touching it, a little over halfway. That's what we've got. So now all we need to do, now that that's dry, it's quite warm in here, so paint is drying quickly. Let's go into our Sahara. Actually make it a yellow base coat, rather than this weird orangey colour. Again, if you don't fancy doing the step, you don't have to. There's nothing wrong with leaving out parts of the armour. This is purely personal preference to get some yellow on here. Yellow is undoubtedly one of the trickier colours to get right. I still have my moments now where I think, oh god, I have to paint all that yellow. So that's the base coat. So now comes highlighting. We'll dip into our Sol Yellow. 50-50 with the Sahara. Pull it down. We want to be going towards the edge. Leave some of that Sahara showing. It's certainly not perfect, but again, same with Hunter. The batch have obviously painted these on themselves. So unless they've got their own stencils and Arts and Crafts Station, it's going to be a bit rough. But we don't mind that, we don't mind roughing the rebels. We'll take what we can get. Excuse me. Let's go Pure Sol. So again, choose your focus point. Do you want the focus to be these yellows and oranges? Do you want it to be the tan? Do you want it to be the leather? The weapons? It's your choice. You get to choose what the eye is drawn to. So as it stands, your eye is drawn to that yellow and that orange, which is the desired effect. So we're going to just pop a bit of Teneri yellow. In here. Just to give us an edge highlight. There we are. So I'm pretty happy with that. They're not perfect circles, but because we've left that Sahara yellow around the edge, you can't really tell where, especially from a distance. If I held it down here, you wouldn't be able to tell that those aren't perfect circles, or that one's a bit more lopsided than the other. You can also cover it up if you want to weather these. I'm not weathering them because I want them to look a bit more stark. I've got quite a bland rebel army with all the khakis and greens and browns. So I'm happy that these are standing out. So we have got one more piece of armour to do before we tackle his head. That is this bluish green, which, to be honest, I think I'm going to leave out. I think it's unnecessary, considering how much. So the thing I'm weighing is how much of it will I see, how much will it actually have notice taken of it. That there is the only little bit that would be seen. The rest of it, especially when viewed from above a normal gaming position, you aren't going to see any of it. So we're going to leave it. Let's do his weapons, and then we'll start doing his head. So his head's going to have to be messed around a little bit because he's still got the 99 on his forehead as well. So, back to our dry palette, our 2 contrast paints. One, two, a Black Templar. Sorry, I should have said what we're actually using. Black Templar, we're doing a 50-50 mix of that with Basilic Armour Grey. This will be used for all of the weapons, so 1, 2, mix it together. Essentially, weapons are the one thing I loathe painting. So this is just a simple way to get them looking a bit more presentable with absolute minimal effort. Just need to be careful of what you've painted already. There we go. That's that. And then we've also got his knife on his leg. So let's get that painted as well. There we go. The weapons, at least for these, I want them to be such a minor detail. I'm not going to go overboard with any of it, but contrast paint works quite nicely to naturally highlight everything. So let's tackle his helmet. That's the last detail for Wrecker. So looking at our reference image, we can see the mouthpiece is actually black, so is the head. And Wrecker does have very subtle lines up the side of his helmet. So I think what we're going to do is go in with black. Just hit that area. And then go in with our, or a very dark grey rather. Let's go into this. It's finished with. So, dark grey. Let's go with, not you. Where is it? Eclipse grey, that's the one. So, Eclipse grey. It's less brown than petroleum grey. So we can control this tone a little bit easier. So looking at it, it's going to be this mouthpiece here. Bits under the eyes. And then across the top of the head. Cool, there we go. So that's the area we're going to be painting this. I'm not quite sure what animal it is, to be honest. But this white pattern with the teeth and whatnot. So he does have a white stripe going over the top of his head. We're essentially going to break this down into easier chunks because it can be quite daunting when you look at it. You know, it's got teeth and all sorts all over it. But if we break it down into a central stripe down the top of his head, that'll be the first thing. You can see a circular pattern from the forehead in the eyes as well. So we'll do that. And then we've got this sort of upside down Y shape. We'll do that. And then we've got 2 horizontal lines at the bottom and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vertical lines at the top. And that's all we need to know to break it down. So this is now dry. We're going to go for the recipe we had before, which was Blue Grey Pale, which has decided to jump off the desk and completely disappear. That's because I put it over this side. So, Blue Grey Pale, Nacre. The Blue Grey Pale is by Vallejo Model Colour, by the way. The rest of it is all scale colours, so that's the Nacre, and then White Sands, which is our sort of ivory colour. That's all we're going to need. So get a brush with a fine point. Let's start with that central stripe. I want it to be quite sketchy, so it looks like it's Wrecker's own work. Now let's go for a semicircle. Don't worry about hitting the 99. We'll go over that with red soon enough. Or you can choose to leave it, I suppose. Or make it orange. Dubious to put too much more orange on Wrecker now. Make sure you can actually see this. Scratchy, scratchy, and scratchy. Don't make it too clean. So the next bit is, we've got these eye. There. And there. Then come down his nose piece and basically follow the edge of the mouth guard right down to the bottom. Careful to leave a gap between the bit you've just put on the eyes and this piece. There we go. So now let's do the two horizontal lines. So bottom of the mouthpiece, now I don't mind joining this up because when we do the nacre and ivory I can separate them, so we can't really see the bottom because of where his head's turned. Can't really see the bottom of the other side, so I wouldn't bother with the other side. Let's just focus on these teeth. So we've got 6 teeth, 2 quite prominent fangs. The most prominent is here. Now I would not worry about gaps just yet. We can worry about that when we come to highlight. So that's 2 teeth. 3 teeth, 4 teeth, 5 teeth, 6 teeth. He's got a lopsided jaw for some reason. So now let's go with the nacre. It's 50-50 it with the blue-grey pale. This 50-50 is more important for these big open panel pieces like this, where you want to slowly bring it up from the blue-grey. is where we need to start paying attention to gaps in the pattern. So coming down here, so I'm flattening my brush so I can really get an edge for these teeth. It doesn't have to be perfect. We can see from a distance that that's Rekka. So, Nacre. Let's get in there with that. Need to bring this up as close to off-white as possible. Around 99. Down his nose. Forgive me if I've taken this out of shot, but my eyes are rapidly aging. Last but not least, let's put a bit of ivory on there. Brush washing discipline is important. There we go. That's Rekka's helmet. Pretty happy with that. You can see the distinct teeth. The overall design's good from a distance as well. All I'm going to do, because I don't want the 99 to distract from what we've done there, so I'm going to get our white paint. I am scouring, there it is. Get the white paint and we're going to highlight it white. So it's still there, still visible if you look for it. However, it's not distracting, it's not pulling away from the face design. Still in there. Same on the back. I think we're just going to highlight that white as well. ever have to freehand an Aurebesh 99, the easiest way to do it, and you can see this if you head to my Instagram, there's an Echo that I painted, and the customer wanted Bad Batch. In fact, I've had to do 2 of these recently. Wanted a Bad Batch inspired Echo for their ARC team. So I had to paint a freehand Aurebesh 99 on the helmet. And the way you do it is you turn the figure sideways like this, and you do 6 vertical strokes, and then you turn it around and you join the top 2 at either end. And that is the easiest way I can tell you to do that. So, that was a lot shorter than Hunter's video, but that concludes our second member of the Bad Batch. Now obviously if you're doing Republic, that 99 is going to be red. I just don't want it to detract from the freehand design we've done on the head, but I think that looks fine. We're not done. We've forgotten a skull. Disaster. How unprofessional. Blue grey pale. In we go. Blue grey pale all over. Both sides. You've seen all this before, so I won't. It's more for the technique of highlighting something that's quite large, quite smooth. There are pieces you can pick out to highlight, so I'm going to add some make-out to that. We're going to bring it up. Hit the raised areas of the skull. Leave some of that blue-grey pale in the creases. Definitely don't fill the eye sockets. As I said before, if you want to take these off, sharp hobby knife, run it down from the top, obviously watching your fingers, sort of like push it as if you're scraping off a mould line. If you're a younger viewer, get an adult to do it for you, so that when they break it they can pay for a new one. Obviously make sure you say that before they do it. Even with this being forgotten, it's still a shorter video than the first one, which I'm sure we're all relieved about. That must have been a slog to watch. It was a slog to put together. There we go. I've kept the volume by keeping the blue-grey pale down the edges. It's just a very quick going over that skull. But that does conclude Wrecker. Obviously he's got his rock. I'm sure you don't want me to go through how to paint a rock. Something like Eclipse Grey, and keep layering it up through a graphite. Put some ivory in there for the edges. but I'll probably be covering that with basing material anyway. So there you go. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you for the next member of the Bad Batch.
That's no moon.